Nike struck absolute gold when they signed Caitlin Clark to an 8-year, $28 million endorsement deal. So why in the world are they ignoring her? At the start of this year's WNBA season, it was announced that Caitlin Clark signed a massive endorsement deal with Nike. This deal was for 8 years, $28 million with a signature sneaker included. We have not seen any commercials, we have not seen any ads, we have not seen any Caitlin Clark merchandise, and we for sure as hell have not seen any Caitlin Clark signature shoes.
What if I told you Nike just fumbled a $100 billion opportunity? You heard that right. The biggest name in sports gear just dropped the ball with Caitlin Clark, the WNBA's rookie sensation. How did they mess up this bad? Let's break it down. Remember when everyone thought Nike scored big with Clark's contract? Turns out that deal might be their biggest fumble yet.
Nike is obviously the biggest brand in athletic apparel, and Caitlin seemed to be a perfect fit for the brand. $28 million at the time, while some people, including myself, were saying that this might be a little bit too low. Also got to see the other offers that were on the table for Caitlin Clark, and as you can see, Under Armour offered her 4 years for $16 million, which by a year-by-year basis, she would actually be making more per year if she had signed with Under Armour. And I feel like looking back in retrospect, that might have been the perfect place for Caitlin, because I feel like Under Armour for sure wouldn't have ignored her this entire season.
Let's break down how this $28 million steal is backfiring in a major way. So, Nike signed Caitlin Clark to an 8-year deal worth up to $28 million. At first glance, it looked like they'd hit the jackpot. A rising star locked in for less than $4 million a year? That's pocket change for a company like Nike, right? But here's where things get weird.
Nike put up this huge billboard that's basically like, if you break it, you own it. And this was in Iowa. They had other ads and things that came out, but since then it has been crickets. The thing that is the most surprising about this is, if you guys remember, when Caitlin Clark was playing at Iowa, Nike ran ads about her. When she broke the record for the most points in NCAA scoring history for both the men and the women, I personally don't understand how a brand like Nike, who has had athletes like Serena Williams, like LeBron James, like Michael Jordan, who branched off and made his own brand in itself. However, I will say that Caitlin Clark has created more buzz around the basketball landscape and has actually transformed and revived a league that was the WNBA.
Nike's been silent, dead silent. No ads, no merch, nothing. It's like they forgot they even signed her. Meanwhile, they're going all out for other players. Take A'ja Wilson, for example. She's got a signature shoe announcement and everything. Don't get me wrong, Wilson's great.
Sabrina Ionescu has a shoe with Nike, and it is very similar to like a Kobe or a Kyrie shoe. It's actually, honestly, like, it feels like it's a Kyrie shoe. I believe that Caitlin Clark, if they would have released a signature shoe for her this season, they would have made a killing. And there are a lot of men who wear the Sabrinas as well. That is an example where you don't need to take all of this time in developing the greatest first shoe for a player.
But Clark's the one breaking records and pulling in millions of viewers. You know what's crazy? Fans are noticing. They're not happy about Nike's lack of love for Clark. People are starting to wonder if Nike even cares about women's sports. I mean, when you've got the hottest rookie in years and you're not doing anything with her?
Caitlin Clark, remember that girl, that superstar playing for Iowa that ended up going to the Final Four? She's got one of the hottest selling jerseys in sports, y'all, according to Fanatics, led by the one and only Michael Rubin. The deal is the richest sponsorship contract for a women's basketball player. She deserves it!
What are fans supposed to think? Some folks are saying Nike might be playing it safe. They're worried about pushing a rookie too hard, especially when they've got established stars like Wilson. But come on, when you've got a player who's tripling your viewership, isn't that exactly when you should be going all in? Here's another wild part of this deal. Clark's supposed to get a signature shoe, but guess when? 2026 or 2027? That's like a lifetime in sports. By then, who knows what the landscape will look like? You want to know what's really mind-boggling?
Clark now has an 8-year, $28 million deal with Nike that will include her own signature shoe. Caitlin Clark continues to set the bar when it comes to her impact on female athletics. Go out there, compete with her, try to bust her up if you want to, and all of that stuff. Just don't hate on the acclaim that she's getting.
While Nike's sitting on their hands, other companies are jumping at the chance to back Clark. It's like Nike's handing their competitors a golden opportunity on a silver platter. So Nike dropped the ball, but guess who was there to catch it? Adidas swooped in like a hawk, and now they're soaring.
Clark shoe, whenever that is released, comes out, they ought to call it the air suppression. Because basically they are marketing Asia Wilson by suppressing anything having to do with the most popular player in the league.
Since you brought it up, I'm going to touch on it just for a bit. The ratings, I believe 2 Sundays ago with Caitlin Clark, she drew 1.8 million viewers on an NFL Sunday. I really do. And I think moving forward, I think that number is going to, as the playoffs continue on, I think that number is going to continue to come down.
I wonder, this actually needs to be studied. What other sports league has diminishing ratings as you get closer to the championship?
The craziest part? This might be the biggest assist in basketball history, and it's happening off the court. You won't believe how Adidas is changing the game. While Nike was busy twiddling their thumbs, Adidas recognized Caitlin Clark's star power and jumped on the opportunity. They're not just selling shoes, they're selling a vision of the future of women's sports. Let's talk numbers for a second.
You hate it when they're here. You don't like their presence. Oh my God, look at what they're doing. They're so awful. Then when they leave, the Caitlin flight, oh my God, I can't, what do we do now? Isn't it the same thing?
Yeah, it's a good analogy. Yes, it is.
And these players that are now complaining, if there are any, about the ratings, about being abandoned. Well, wait a minute. So that has become something that for them, that word, problematic. And it's also set up a cultural debate on the other side of the street. Many of you were the very same ones that was pointing the finger and saying you're racist and we don't want or need your support. So in theory, you're getting what you want and you should be happy for the lower ratings. So be careful what you wish for.
The Caitlin Clark effect is real, and it's spectacular. WNBA ticket sales for 2024 are up a mind-blowing 93% compared to last year.
They've made Caitlin Clark more interesting. They've made Caitlin Clark the biggest star in American sports. They got this conversation wrong. The ladies, the active players in the WNBA, they haven't screwed up anything. Their little petty jealousy and sniping at Caitlin Clark is why 2 million people are tuning in to watch Caitlin Clark play basketball and to watch a bunch of other women blow layups every night.
That's not a typo, 93%. Adidas saw this coming, and they're riding that wave all the way to the bank. But here's where it gets really interesting. Adidas isn't just slapping Clark's name on some sneakers and calling it a day.
The WNBA was nothing before Caitlin Clark, and she has made it into something. I know how great she is because of Caitlin Clark. The Arike Amagawali, and I'm sorry if I messed up the name, the girl in Dallas. That girl's a baller. These guys are all working off of platforms that were already built long before they got there, and they have not elevated that platform.
They're positioning themselves as champions of women's sport. It's like they're saying, hey, we see you, we value you, and we're going to shout it from the rooftops. You know what's even crazier? They're bringing in the big guns to back Clark. We're talking sports icons like Billie Jean King singing her praises.
The Atlanta Dream set the record for the biggest crowd to watch a WNBA game in Georgia history.
Pretty exciting. One of the big reasons fans flock to State Farm Arena is, of course, the Caitlin Clark effect.
Caitlin Clark tonight.
Oh, gotta watch number 22.
I've been watching Caitlin for a couple of years, and since then I've dreamed about coming to a game.
She's with just brought a lot to the WNBA and also to the game itself and for women, so women's sports.
It's not just about selling shoes anymore, it's about making a statement. And let me tell you, that statement is loud and clear. While Nike's been quiet as a mouse, Adidas is out there shouting Clark's name from every billboard and social media platform they can find. They're not just promoting a player, they're promoting a movement. Think about it. When's the last time you saw this much buzz around a WNBA rookie? Adidas isn't just riding the wave, they're making wave. They're showing the world that women's sports aren't just a sideshow. They're the main event.
And it's after Clark was picked. Stores rolled out Caitlin Clark Indiana Fever jerseys and t-shirts.
Fans are on the hunt for anything and everything Clark now that she's officially a member of the Indiana Fever.
Away from Christmas time through, I mean, we didn't have nearly enough in stock for just the regular jersey t-shirts and whatnot. And then it's just been nonstop orders coming in still today.
Dick Weiss posted that more Caitlin Clark Indiana Fever jerseys were sold in one day than the Cowboys sold last year for the entire team.
Hold up though. You think missing out on Clark was Nike's biggest mistake? That's like saying losing one game costs you the championship. The real story here is way bigger, and it's got Nike sweating more than players in overtime. What could possibly have the swoosh shaking in their boots? Let's talk numbers for a second, because this is where things get wild.
He's away, and we'll be locked in the whole way through. Here are the first round matchups. Liberty versus the Dream, Lynx versus the Mercury, Sun Fever in the 4-5 matchup, the Aces versus the Storm. But how about the Fever?
I feel like it's a great accomplishment, but like there's so much more left to be done. Like, yeah, we made the playoffs. There's 6 regular season games.
Yeah, they're a very dangerous team coming into this postseason. You know, they always tell you that the team that you want to watch out for are the teams that get hot at the right time.
Nike's market value has taken a nosedive. We're not talking a little dip here. They've lost over $100 billion since 2021. That's not a typo, folks. $100 billion. Gone. Poof. Just like that. Now, you might be thinking, but Nike's huge. How could this happen?
The Caitlin Clark phenomenon. How do you describe it?
She's clearly an unbelievable player, came in with an unbelievable following, has brought a lot of new fans to the league. If you look at our historic season around this class of rookies, we will be talking about them a generation from now.
I noticed when you're asking about Caitlin a lot, you bring up other rookies as well.
Well, it turns out even giants can stumble. The problem? They've been playing it safe, sticking to what they know instead of pushing the boundaries. It's like they've been running the same play over and over, expecting different results. You know those dunks and Jordans everyone loves? Nike's been relying on them like a crutch. Sure, they're classics, but where's the innovation? Where's the excitement? It's like they forgot what made them great in the first place. And here's where it gets really interesting. This lack of fresh ideas isn't just hurting their bottom line, it's messing with their whole game plan.
There's a lot of women that was on ESPN that had a lot to say early about this. They gone quiet now. Y'all had a lot to say early. And if you think I'm talking to you, I am. Make no mistake about it. I'm talking to you. You know who you are. Man, she was coming up the picks, let the threes go.
Yeah.
Enrique come down, let one go.
Yeah.
She said, wow. She said, I'm tired right now. Hey, Kelsey, take that one. Kelsey hit that left hand on him. Wow.
Their stores are cluttered, they've got too much inventory, and worst of all, they're losing that emotional connection with fans. It's like they're not even speaking the same language anymore. But the Caitlin Clark situation, that's where things really start to unravel. It's not just about one player, it's about a whole shift in the sports world that Nike seems to be missing. They're dropping the ball on women's sports, and it's costing them big time. One industry expert put it perfectly. Nike's oversight of Clark isn't just about one player. It's a symptom of bigger problems that could cost them their market dominance. Think about that for a second. We're not just talking about missing out on one star.
Charles Barkley talking about the Caitlin Clark phenomenon and the people he blames for blowing this whole Caitlin Clark deal.
People believe what we say on television. Just because people don't like you or your personality, they can't get on TV and slander you. It's just total bullshit. These ladies, and I'm a WNBA fan, they cannot have this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they try. What is going on here? And the thing I love about her, she never says a word. But these ladies, who I love and respect their game, they couldn't have this thing up.
We're talking about potentially losing their crown as the king of sports marketing. This whole situation is like a wake-up call for Nike. It's showing them that their old playbook might not cut it anymore. The game is changing, and if they don't adapt, they might find themselves warming the bench while others take the lead. All right, let's wrap this up. Nike's fumble with Caitlin Clark, it's not just about one player. It's a wake-up call for the whole sports marketing world.
If Caitlin Clark somehow wins the WNBA championship this year, she will have put together the greatest rookie season in the history of professional sport. Include Caitlin Clark in the conversation, as I like to do, but we're also going to bring the NFL, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Caitlin Clark, Deion Sanders, all in the same boat with historical perspective and knowledge. And more than anything, I'm gonna blast the media.
Things are changing fast, and if you blink, you might miss the next big thing. Think about it. We're seeing a shift in how brands approach women's sports. It's not just about slapping a logo on a jersey anymore. Companies like Adidas are going all in, creating a vision for the future of sports. You know what's wild? The next billion-dollar deal in sports might come from somewhere totally unexpected. Are you paying attention? Because the game's changing, and the players who spot these opportunities first are going to be the real winners. It's not just about who's on the court anymore, it's about who's changing the game off it.